Mysterious box discovered in grandparents' house holds a decades-old secret nobody saw coming. But before we start, please make sure to subscribe to Did You Know and hit the bell so you never miss an upload from us. Also, leave a like right now. Even though cluttered garages and overstuffed attics can be nightmare fuel for the planet's tidiest people, there's no denying that some awesome stuff hides within those mounds of sentimentalized junk. One Imgur user recently discovered exactly that while exploring their grandparents' home. They'd been through their grandparents' ceramics room, which was bursting with both finished and unfinished art projects, when they discovered something hidden in an old cupboard. Intrigued, the Imgur user opened it up and discovered something truly shocking. One Imgur user who uses the handle tidiest had been snooping around in their grandmother's cluttered ceramics room when they found something surprising. Hidden in the back corner of the room was this tall cupboard. The cupboard was more than it appeared. The bottom of it was actually removable, and the false bottom concealed a rectangular cavity tightly packed with gravel. The Imgur user suspected there was more than gravel inside that secret compartment. Tidiest brushed away the loose gravel, only to reveal the combination dial for a hidden safe. They wanted to investigate, but there was just one problem. Their grandmother didn't know the combination. Tidiest's grandfather, who owned the safe, had passed away. No combination? No problem. The flimsy tin box couldn't stand up against power tools and some good old brute force. Tidiest's father used a grinder to break open the hidden safe and pry off the top. Whether Tidiest's grandmother knew the contents of the hidden safe remained to be seen. Since she didn't know the combination, it was safe to assume she wasn't totally sure what was inside. It was possible that no one living knew a thing about the contents. Luckily, the safe wasn't empty. There in front of them was an object wrapped in cloth, alongside a lone note. Of course, the Tidiest instantly grabbed the note, which had been written by their late grandfather. The note read simply, "Abandon all regret ye who enter here." It was a play on the famous passage from Dante's Inferno, "Abandon all hope ye who enter here," which was supposedly scrawled above the entrance to hell. This is his way of playing around, the Imgur later said. The note wasn't the only cryptic thing they found. The large cloth bore a Chinese character which meant double happiness. This symbol was typically seen at weddings. It sounded like Tidiest's grandfather was a positive guy. Tidiest had barely been able to examine the rest of the contents of the tin box when the dial suddenly broke off just from sitting on the table. Surely this tin box was very, very old in order for that to happen. Tidiest pressed on, curious as to what was inside of the cloth. The black cloth had been wrapped around an old leather pouch. The seal on it, though faint, read 1776. Even better, however, was what they found inside the pouch. Tidiest removed a handful of items from the pouch, each one sure to make collectors and history lovers' heads spin. The first was a pocket watch, perfectly protected by a British Army issue barrel cloth, which looked fresh from the factory line. Stamps from all over the globe also filled the leather pouch. Right away, Tidiest spread them out for a better view and found some were from countries that didn't even exist anymore, like the Soviet Union, Zaire, and the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic. There were even more fascinating historical items, like this silver lamp, as Tidiest called it. One commenter pointed out it was likely an incense burner, which left them disappointed. But how cool would it be if it was a genie lamp? One of the more spectacular and personal finds were photographs of Tidiest's ancestors. This image of their great-great-grandmother posing in a window frame must have been over a century old. After Tidiest posted this photo of their great-grandfather, one Imgur user commented, "Your great-grandfather is so classy it hurts." Who could deny that? Everything from the pipe to the round-frame spectacles screamed dapper. Still, the safe held even more surprises. After some further digging, the Imgur user found this plastic container which housed several coins, an old key, and some other assorted items. Were any of them significant? The answer was yes. What stood out first was the collection of rare coins from empires and countries long gone. Coin collectors online pointed out which ones were particularly valuable. That 1921 Morgan silver dollar is in pretty awesome condition, one user commented about the coin on the bottom right side photo. I'd hold on to it if I were you. Others fawned over super rare Pakistani coins in the collection. Also inside the plastic container were 2 pieces of World War I memorabilia. This medal was given to Commonwealth troops that served in theater. One user confirmed. Still, the crest's origin stumped even the most historically attuned Imgur users. There was one last item that mystified them all: a key. No one, not even Tidiest's grandmother, knew what it unlocked. The Imgur user hoped to find the answer soon. Imagine if it led to even more treasure. Tidiest's amazing discovery really makes you wonder how many other treasures are waiting to be found around the globe. While he had no idea there was treasure hiding right there in his grandparents' basement, others have treasures in their homes that might not be so much of a secret. Rudy Schlattner was just a young boy when he and his family had to flee their home country of Czechoslovakia because of the impending Soviet violence after World War II. They left behind all they owned. Years passed and the house eventually became a kindergarten. Rudy never forgot about his childhood home, though, for it was there his father had stored some of the family's most prized possessions. Well, Rudy and his family eventually returned to their old home. Thinking of all they fled from years before, they climbed to the attic, hoping their family's history remained hidden. In the attic, he noticed there was a string attached to one of the boards. His family carefully loosened the board and hoped that what he thought was there would still remain. Rudy was brought to tears when he saw it all. Everything Rudy's father had packed up and hidden was indeed preserved for decades beneath the attic floorboards. Rudy gathered everything out of the hiding space and lined it all up on the floor. It was an impressive haul, no doubt, and one he couldn't wait to dig into. The items Rudy found were very old, and some of them had the potential to be worth a lot of money. Employees at a nearby museum in Usti nad Labem came over to look at the discovery. There were a lot of items to go through, like old toys Rudy and his siblings played with. These, though once cherished, were a hurtful reminder for Rudy of how his childhood was cut short because of the war. Other items from the attic? What looks like ordinary sewing supplies were actually irreplaceable items that are far and few between these days. The kit was still in good condition after years in a crawl space. We were surprised that so many ordinary things were hidden there, museum employee Thomas Okura said. It was charming that Rudy's father thought to save such everyday mementos. But what seems ordinary to most was actually a great historic discovery. Okura explained, thanks to the circumstances, these objects have a very high historical value. The museum employees needed to determine the story behind each object from Rudy's past. A keen eye for details is a key part of a museum worker's job. A small oversight can completely change the outcome of a potentially amazing discovery. Luckily, these workers were all very detail-oriented people. They had their work cut out for them. They unpacked items like this umbrella, the found paperweights, badges, hats, paintings, and books. Museum manager Vaclav Hufek said such a complete finding of objects hidden by German citizens after the war is very rare in this region. A handful of small pieces of metal caught the eye of the workers. They theorized the pieces probably belonged to some old machine Rudy's parents used to own. This meant that they were manufactured in Czechoslovakia at a factory that no longer existed. When workers came across an old scale, They were fascinated by its condition. All the parts were still working, and there was hardly any rust. Rudy explained when he and his siblings were young, they played with the scale, pretending they worked in a scale store. Rudy loved the artwork his parents left behind, and he wanted to eventually keep all the paintings, no matter how badly the museum wanted them. But it would take some time for their value to be assessed. Rudy had to report his finds to the Czech government, but he didn't mind. He was just happy to have this slice of his family history back. Rudy's belongings were just a few of the countless fascinating items from that time period to see. Rudy's discovery might have been full of valuable items, but there are so many other artifacts from World War II out there too. Years after the end of the war, over 1,500 pieces of art were found in a Munich apartment. They were worth billions and were from renowned artists such as Picasso, Renoir, Matisse, and Chagall. Also found 3 miles beneath the surface, researchers found the wreck of a British merchant ship that was sunk in 1941 off the coast of Ireland. On it, they found 61 tons of silver worth about $36 million. It contained 1,574 silver ingots and weighed a total of about 1.8 million ounces.